turns to shit, okay? It's true.
Welcome to the DragonShip and Skull, everybody. We're going to have some fun tonight, man. We got it loaded up for everybody. We are live. And let me just start this out right. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about some fun things today. I've kind of had a great day. I got a few questions from some of the guys in my subscription based men's group about dating coaches, and some of the guys, the majority of guys are single that are in the DragonShip, the membership. And I just have to say, I'm not a dating coach. So let me put this up real quick. But we're going to have fun with dating coach. So let me just go ahead and put this up. Just be real clear on who RP Thor is. RP Thor is a mentor. Primarily when I do consulting, believe it or not, I started with fitness and it's kind of grown from there. I also did consulting for power line work. It's grown from there to relationship mentoring. That's right, long-term relationship mentoring. My experience is over 30 years in long-term relationship. So I have some experience there, and I've worked with other couples. And, it's a tough thing, but it's a good thing. Relationships are where we naturally gravitate to, particularly men and women. And it's a beautiful thing. It gets stale, and you're going to have to maintain them. And there's lots of ways to do this, and they can last. It's too easy to quit these days, and there's a lot of incentives not to. That puts a lot of folks back into the dating market. And I got to say, that's not a fun place to be for a guy that would be at least my age. I can't imagine what it would be like for a lady. I have a childhood friend similar in my age that married early to one of my best friends in grade school. And I've known her for all these years, and they had a fantastic relationship. I think they married somewhere in early 20s, and they had like 5 or 6 kids. And unfortunately, he died at 51. So she re-entered the dating market. And I've heard some of the things she said. I can't imagine. Imagine being a person like that, a woman that has been happily married to your alpha, your provider, and then losing him and going back into the dating market. You know for a fact that no man that ever comes up that's qualified for her is going to match the husband that she lost. That's got to be a tough place for her to be. And, as women age, they definitely have a very different approach to dating than they did when they were very young. And I think there's biological reasons for that. And there's a huge need for dating coaching right now because of the lockdowns, social constructionism, what's happened to the millennial generation, and the fact that a third of young men are sexless and socially awkward in the West. And it's growing. It's growing past the West. So it looks like, to pick men back up to where they need to be and have the social acuity to actually be attractive to women, this coaching thing has come up for dating. Obviously, I've been out of the dating market for many, many, many years, but some aspects of relationships do cross over into dating. So I'm going to bring up the panel, and we'll talk to them. And the panel, we're going to have some guys that are really thick into this. And this is a good thing because I have dating coaches, actual dating coaches that are active in the field right now on the panel to talk about this gluttony of women dating coaches that entered into kind of the pseudo red pill space all of a sudden. It was men for many, many years that were offering this dating coaching. Now I see women, and I've categorized it into several categories. We'll talk about that in a minute because I think that there are some, I know my title was kind of clickbaity, but there are some women that offer some reasonable advice. I don't know if I'd hire them to be a coach, but they offer reasonable advice and seem like super. In fact, every woman who we're going to show on the video clips today seems like an awesome person. But as far as advice and hiring them to train a young man to be attracted to women, I really have to put on the brakes there kind of and stall and take a harder look because of what they say and see what their experiences are. But I do have men that have experience. I think experience is probably the most important thing when you're actually coaching or mentoring somebody else, is to check for what is the experience of your coach? What is his success record? what does his client say about him? What is the long-term track record? And why I say the long-term track record, I'm talking years. Anybody can be happy for a year, just like in a relationship. About for 18 months, anybody can be on a honeymoon phase. Then what happens after that? You know, and some of the coaches actually have cult-like personalities and high charisma, but what are they actually offering beyond that charisma? I think that's how you kind of have to vet your mentors and your coaches. And sometimes you'll make mistakes. No problem. You can learn from everybody, even a bad coach. But I have good coaches. I'm going to introduce them. Alex Huddock, the Hudsman, who runs First Class. He's to just right over here to me. That's Huds. And also Mac the Day Gamer, who's active in Tokyo every day, slaying it like the player that he is. How you doing, Mac and Huds?
Good, man. Good.
Excellent, excellent. And then I got from Louisiana, correct? It's Joe, Louisiana, runner of Proud Masculine. Fantastic. Let me get rid of that banner and I'll continue on. And of course, I've got Wraith, who has decades of experience, especially with relationships and teaching men about frame and how to create that frame for themselves so that they're actually attractive to not only women, but others around them. That's actually really crucial, I think, when it comes to this concept of dating. You actually have to, and we'll get into that, but that's kind of why some of these gals run out and the first thing out of their mouth is be authentic, but they can't tell you what that is. What does it mean? Well, I can tell you right now, Ray Thor can tell you exactly how to discover that and make it authentic. And right next to him is another man that does exactly that as well. And that's Mark Daniels from Mark's Inspiration. And we got a couple of great guys with us, young guys. They're out actually, they're stomping it. In Miami, we got Sam. Sam saying yes. Sam doesn't say no.
I do to these girls.
Good.
All the time. That's
excellent. And we got the Slayer of Phoenix, Randall, who him and I have met and slung some iron. Good deal. Good to see you there, Randall. We're going to want your guys' input into this as well as we start to play. And I'm going to bring up our last panelist, who is an incredible man of means. And he is Phil Foster, fitness guru extraordinaire. And he is also a relationship mentor, much like myself. I've been in a lot of long-term relationships and had unique relationships with the females. And we'll be talking, Phil, as you probably heard, about some of the female dating coaches out there, because it's kind of exploded, and I see why. They're very attractive. There's a lot of men that are very thirsty, and they want to know the secret. They want to know the easy button. So we're going to have fun chopping this up today. I think it'll be great. So do you guys want to know the categories that I put out for female dating coaches? I put them into 3 categories. Does that sound like fun?
Let's hear it.
Here's my 3 categories, okay? I have in the female dating coach arena, and some males fall into this too, by the way, is I did some research in the last couple of days, listened to a lot of stuff, is I found that some coaches are actually pretty good. And I call them the duplicators. When I mean duplicators, they collect and repackage red pill content that's been existing for years, kind of give it a bit of a feminine spin and put it back out there. Some of our good friends here are doing this, and they're the replicators. And I think they're actually starting to gain some traction. We got Pearl, we got Allie out there, we got Torsia out there. We got others out there that are doing this as well. It's pretty amazing. I'm sure I missed somebody, but you guys can catch me up on who might fit that category. I don't want to name too many names. And then we've got a different category that I like to call the pick and pulls. And there's guys that do this too, where they pick and pull little pieces of the red pill and interject it into their content in order to get coaching clients, you know? And usually they couple those with 2 things, an emotional appeal and some comedy. So you can learn something from these folks, particularly their content. There's this one little gal, massive respect, because it's hard to do. And that's, maybe we'll see her later. And that's Jessie J. She's a little Filipino gal, really coming up and being popular, but she puts out some of the hard truths that about women's nature, shall we say. That's red pill. That is unflattering, but how she tempers it for herself is with comedy. It's funny, ha, 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 ha. And that does soften the blow, because, I mean, you'll hear our friends talk about male-female sexual dynamics, and someone like a Myron Gaines, who's brilliant, will put it out there, black and white, but the gals don't want to hear it like that. They'll even admit, yep, that's the truth, but it's the way you say it, which is funny because he didn't say it with an emotional appeal. So you have some of these pick and pulls that are doing this, trying to add an emotional appeal or comedy to soften that blow. And then the final category I put out there is kind of the esoteric, foo-foo, stuff that's kind of sales at all costs. It's very pitchy, but it's the plain Janes of the world that look like the girl next door. But there's a lot of flowery word salad that go with it. And a lot of this flowery word salad's a lot around vulnerability, emotional availability. Or is she emotionally available? You emotionally available? Are the stars aligned? Is the zodiac correct? Things like that. And we'll see a clip of that later on. And she's a sweetheart, but you'll see that I'm not so sure that's the best advice out there for men. Some men need a little bit more than that. And that's about as far as my opinions go. I think you can learn something from everybody. But with that, let's get into female dating and relationship coaches, guys. What do you say?
I can't wait. This is going to be fantastic.
Great. Hud, you kind of got the one up. I'm going to look to you and Mac a little bit on this because this is really this is your bread and butter. Right?
True. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So what is your first thoughts, Hud? Let's start with you. What is your first thoughts on female dating coaches? You're in the mix.
Absolutely. So what I tend to find is that a lot of the female dating coaches out there, they don't realize it. Like, quite honestly, I don't think they realize it. That the reason why they're so successful is because they're a pretty girl. And then the people that are subscribing to them and are following their advice are thinking, oh, like if I follow this advice, I can get a girl just like that. Instead of actually looking at how to attract women. And they kind of, they attach to that specific person. And so that's what I think the biggest issue is with it all. I know we talked a little bit before Thor about it, and I love how Myron does it, where it's if you want to catch a fish, and no, women are not fish, but it's just an example. If you want to catch a fish, are you going to ask the fish or are you going to ask the fisherman? And that's what it is. You need to ask the people that are out there and actually know how to attract this woman.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. And Phil just caught me. I forgot to mention the title of the third class, and that was the esoteric sales at all costs category. There you go, Phil. So that's the three categories I put them into. But the fish thing is really good because we're going to get to that in just a second, because we have a nice little clip that I want you two to kick off a conversation with in a minute. But I want to get Mac's initial thoughts on this topic of female dating coaches. I mean, you actually take men, Mac, and physically teach them. And this is what really impressed me about some of the early coaches in dating, is they didn't do it via video and internet. This is kind of relatively new. I used to see videos where they take a group of guys out and do night game or day game, things like that, right? Where they actually showed them how to be socially competent. And or there was this guy, what was his name? James something. Was it James? Maybe it wasn't. But he did something where he brought in actors or people for these really awkward guys, and he would have scenarios for them to practice their social cue. I thought that was pretty interesting. Never seen it again. What are your thoughts, Mac?
Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I'm not really too familiar with all these new female dating coaches. I don't watch any of their content. I mean, but I'm pretty busy out here, just like actually, trying to pick up women out here in Tokyo, and teaching guys how to do it. But obviously the fisherman fish analogy, I agree with that completely. It's not that women could never give good advice. But it boils down to, do you want to get advice from someone who's actually has experience in the field and knows it innately? Because a woman is never going to ever understand the struggle that it is as a man, to go and approach a woman and pick up a woman by any means, whether it's a dating app, whether it's real life, you know, in life, you know, in nightlife, whatever it is. They'll never understand from a male perspective. So which perspective, who do you want to learn from? Do you want to learn from someone who has experience in the field, or, you know, do you want to learn from someone who just is kind of repackaging material? It's like college professors that teach business courses. They teach business courses, but they've never actually made a fucking cent from, you know, from business. So yeah, personally, it just makes more sense to learn from someone who actually does it and has success doing it. But, you know, it's just funny because it's like, you know, it seems like I said, I'm not even familiar. I know some of the names, yeah, but I don't watch any of their content.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't really pay attention to them. But it seems like they could start bringing in. There could a lot of simping could start happening because, you know, there's some females, you know, talking about red pill, and it's like it goes against the whole red pill philosophy, and, you know, it's kind of funny to me, but it's like, you know, they're gonna, you know, where there's opportunity to make money, they're gonna come, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna hurt your feelings really good here. You know, you guys are both coaches, but some of these female coaches are filling that thirst need so well that they have tens of thousands of subscribers.
Oh yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Hundreds and thousands of clients. And if you listen to the content,
Thor, there's guys lining up to pay, like, tip girls that do sleeping streams on Twitch, and I don't even watch it, but
what is
it? Just the thirst is so hardcore out there amongst men.
What he's talking about, Mac, I don't mean to cut you off, but what he's talking about is they will pay to, like, watch these girls, like, fall asleep in bed.
Yeah, I've just heard about that, you know, but
well, I am definitely a tard because that's the business I wanted to be in. I swear, to make money sleeping.
I mean, the thing, like, you can't even hate on these chicks. If there's money to be made, it's like, fuck it, like, just make the money, you know. It's like
total respect,
like
for the hustle.
It's like, but the guys that pay the money are just beyond pathetic, and it's like, God damn, like, it just, do they ever have a moment of self-reflection about what they're actually doing, like how they're spending their time, like paying random women that wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. They literally wouldn't piss on them if they're on fire. But yeah, that's my.
How many of those? Is that an idea? Is that a business idea that a woman came up with, or is it just like this? A man came up with the idea. So he's got some girl that's just completely in love with him, and it's like, okay, do this, and he's collecting that money.
It would make a lot of sense, and when you see the production value of at least one of the gals we're going to show, yeah, for sure, there has to be more behind that than just her, or she's really going to knock my socks off, because that's a lot of work. Proud Masculine Joe, you're out there, and if it's not too presumptuous, you got thrust back into the dating market just a few years ago. I wouldn't say older, but middle age. Would that be fair?
Fair, yeah.
So what do you think about these? And you actually sought out some coaching, right?
Yeah, I did in the past.
And now you coach.
Not from women. Coach, I don't think I'm a coach. I direct, mentor, coach, I don't know. All I know is through my life experience and what I've done that works for me consistently and what has worked for me. And just to clear up, I'm in an LTR. I'm not on the market. And just to pass that on to men. And what I find is even men coming to a man for direction and advice to correct whatever course they were on or to establish something, they coming in a pretty desperate situation. I think we can all agree that most men come into this space because of women, whether it's a breakup, broken heart, or just the absolute inability to attract a woman of any kind. Just
connect. Yeah.
I guess we'd say, just incompetent, socially awkward, very low self-esteem, have nothing to offer. And so what they want is to be validated and to be told and to be coddled and, told that they're fine just the way they are. And, they want somebody to comfort them for their bad decision-making and the inability to do anything. And so what's going to happen is they're going to go to, and they think, because look, when I was younger, I was raised by a single mom. So I thought the best place to get advice about women is from what? Women, right? And I know it totally contradicts what seems logical would be to get advice about women is from women, but it's not.
Yeah.
A woman was always going to offer you, advice and direction from their own narrative, from an imperative that they have from their perspective. When we talked a little bit about this before the show, they could be logically and intellectually well armed with all the information needed. And what if she's having an off day, or she's, if she's going through something emotional, that's the take you're going to get on that given day and that given moment.
Yeah, that's a really important point, because men and women do approach, we all understand, and for the audience's purpose, that we approach sex differently. We have different imperatives. We've talked about those imperatives. Women have two. They have the need for that supreme alpha seed, yet they also reserve for that provider protector, and they don't often come in the same package. Men, we have the imperative to spread seed, unlimited sexuality all the time. I mean, to the day we die. That's the purpose, And
like
so
Mac,
communication is different.
I don't keep up. I don't look at any of the channels, so
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you what these women are offering.
Well,
But
we're going to show you.
I can tell you from experience that women are going to tell you exactly what they want out of a man in that moment.
Hmm.
And the fact is, they can't even explain why they want the shit they want. Explain the asshole who's never without women, or the woman who gets beat constantly and can't leave the guy. And then look, I know that has something to do with old trauma and emotional trauma and whatnot. But it's true. They can't explain why they can't say no, or they can't explain why they say yes to that guy who they just met 30 minutes ago and they banged him in a hotel room. So, and the guy that comes to a woman in that state of mind is super vulnerable. He's going to go for anything. And it's bad direction. And you're never going to get the total truth of what it takes to consistently put yourself in a position to win with men, to win in the dating market, the sexual marketplace, and even in a relationship. You're never going to get the total truth from a woman about that.
Yep.
Whereas, and I know I'm pretty confident the guys on this panel, I know you for sure, I know Mac for sure, I know Wraith, the other guys I know loosely, that, I'm going to tell you the uncomfortable truths of what you're doing and why you're doing it. You're never going to hear me say, oh, just be yourself. That's good enough. You're good enough just the way you are. That's a fucking lie.
Yeah.
And there's going to be truths that I'm going to tell a guy that a woman wouldn't. Harsh.
Yep. Well, speaking of people that are going to tell you the uncomfortable truth, but in a kind of a nice baritone, that would be Phil Foster. What do you think about these coaches, huh? Female dating coaches.
Oh man, I'm gonna side with the first three gents that have said something.
You gotta tell us. You gotta tell us what you think. Come on.
No, I'm gonna tell you this like this, man. I would never take information on how to pick up women from another woman, ever, in a million years. I would go out there and hit my head over and over until I figured it out myself. I think female dating coaches that, they've niched in here for the simple fact is the thirst is so friggin' real with these guys. They have no friggin' clue. Kind of like what Proud Masculine was saying, like they have nothing to offer or anything like that. They got low self-esteem or whatever, or they come through these situations through heartbreak. Obviously, most people find the red pill through getting thrashed on by life. It's like swimming with a great white shark. I mean, you just get chewed on. And then eventually you discover the red pill. Well, why won't she bang me? Why won't my wife bang me? Why, all these questions get put into the internet, and that's what happens I think female dating coaches, honestly, they offer very low value, and I think that they've niched in because these guys they think that they're going to get an edge when it comes to dealing with women. Okay, well, it's a woman's insight, and I want a woman, so let me go ahead and get that information from her, and that way I can lock a woman down and bang her or whatever I'm going to do with her. The simple fact still remains that the information is coming from a woman. It's coming from a feminist perspective or a feminism perspective, in my opinion. They've all been relatively touched by feminism. That is, they've been programmed, throughout life. And I think that when you have that kind of information trickle fed into men that are looking to understand women better and their nature and how to handle them and how to pick them up and how to date them and how to bang them and how to build a relationship with them, really and truly, you're getting trickle fed information that's basically feminist based.
It's
I
filtered.
think, excuse me, sir.
It's filtered.
Oh, 100%. And it's 100% to the narrative of what's going on with that particular female dating coach. Now, hey, kudos to them for scratching something out of this planet, and making some money. But I think that men would do themselves a better service instead of a disservice by dealing with men when it comes to understanding women's nature. The great thing about this panel is there's a lot of gents that are a lot older than me that have had a lot more experience than I have with women. And so being around guys, even the younger gents, you can learn a lot from another man faster than you can learn from another woman. And that's just my opinion. Yep. I think that socially speaking, men are on top of women. So you know where I stand, Thor.
Yeah. No doubt. And you know what? I completely agree with you. And I'll add something though. There is value here. The value is women, they communicate they're masters of subcommunication socially, and they're masters of the emotional appeal. And you can learn from that because certain men that have high charisma also use some of those techniques to reach to women. They'll emotionally appeal for them and they'll use it as bait, like on that fishing hook, and they can use that and really, really reel them in. So it's an interesting concept. So at least if you observe some of those behaviors, that you're going to get it filtered. Number one, you're going to get a lot of emotional appeals, and it's going to be based on her solipsism and what's best for her. And that's kind of a logical fallacy. That's that anecdotal evidence of me, and what I see must be the same for everybody around me. What that'll result in too is women are so connected socially, is whatever the trends are, that's where the coaching will be. So if years ago it was feminism, go girl, that's what the coaching will be. As we swing to the red pill, we're getting the pick and pulls and the duplicators coming because it's starting to trend upwards. At least that's my thought. So Phil, I think we're really kind of on the same page. And as far as the women being able to discern, of course they can, but they have trouble with the decision only in the fact that they can hold two contradictory thoughts at the same time and feel like they're not contradictory. I could prove this. And I proved it to a super intelligent woman with just this one statement. And she said, women are not like that at all. And I said, great. Then tell me why you have trouble choosing where to go eat. And this is what it was. It sounds like this. So anyway,
it's funny that you mentioned that. I literally had a girl this week. She's higher intelligence, but I just been dating her for a little bit. She's kind of smart, but I literally pointed something out to her, and she goes, cognitive dissonance. She says that she understands that about herself. Mm-hmm. Even the ones, if they're smart enough, they understand that they can just,
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with women that converge, and thank God they do, because they're a beautiful thing to be able to hold all those together with those emotions. It's quite a counterbalance to us, but I don't think I would rely on it. And I'll tell you, even for relationship guidance, I've had experience with this. There's a lot of gals out there counseling professionally marriages that are in trouble, that have never been married, and they've been indoctrinated through feminism, and they're encouraged to offer advice that is actually destructive to the family. We'll leave it at that. That's what you're up against. So choose your mentors and your coaches and counselors wisely. So let's move on.
Just want to say one thing on the fact that women are so indecisive. One of the things that, one of the most essential things I always tell guys about the first date is that it is imperative as a guy that you have to decide. You cannot compromise. You have to decide almost everything. You can compromise on the date and time, but as long as you put it out there. But on the location, you have to be like forefront about it as a man. You cannot like leave it up to too many guys are like just willing to just get a date by any means possible, and they don't realize when they start leaving it up and not deciding stuff, to become more and more unattractive to the girl. But yeah,
Damn, that's so true, because assertiveness and command presence is so damn attractive to them. It's like wildfire. So if you let go of that, you're just not the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want one quick thing I wanted to say that I meant to say in my little spiel is that, like, for an example, if you get a female dating coach, is what they're calling themselves, in her early to mid 30s, whose desire is to be in a relationship with a strong man, that's the advice you're going to get about who you need to be. If you get a chick in her mid 20s who's, you know, out doing her party thing, that's the advice you're going to get about the guy you should be. It's all based on where she's at. It has nothing to do with her experience or the truth. It's going to be based on where she is. And it all goes back to what, you know, the solipsism, and you know, they just assume that because they're in that phase or they're in that state, that's what, of course, that's what everybody wants, right? And it's not the truth. And it's only gonna.
Yes,
that's brilliant.
I brought that up because we're going to see that in the videos that HUD has.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that's brilliant. You have to look at what age is this person and what is their relationship status. Like how can they be giving you advice when they're young and just having fun and just either trying to make money or whatnot? Are they actually coming from good intentions? I love that, Joe.
They're going to give you the same advice either way, because I think the younger chick is going to be like, wow, this guy's asking me for advice. I don't want him to have any chance out here. I accidentally want him to fool me. Yeah, he'd be a nice guy. Like, they're going to tell you that no matter what.
There's a great piece. What is how to date women by degrees of by their age bracket, by Chateau Artiste. I don't know if I said the title correctly, but it's a good piece. No, it definitely, Joe was 100% on the money when he said, you know, women, it depends on where she's at, because it's completely different dating a 20-year-old as it is going to be to date a 30-year-old. They're at totally, because there's so much more. It's such a different. There's so much more writing on it for women. It's such a vast difference, you know.
It is. Yeah, look here. Coco just commented on here's one of our great fans over here on the DragonShip. I think men should just tell women where they're going to eat. If a man knows her, he knows what she likes, so he can pick a place he'd like to eat and knows there is something there that she'll eat. It goes much beyond that. It's about the leadership and the respect and control in the relationship. It makes her feel secure.
She just wants to show up and have fun and look sexy and whatever she's wearing. She don't give a fuck about where she eats.
Exactly.
In the first date, how are you going to have any idea of what she wants to eat?
No.
Yeah.
I think you should put yourself in the best possible position to succeed, and that's being somewhere you're comfortable, that you know you're familiar with, and you can invite her into that. If you
want to eat, right? Right. I go where I want to eat. I don't even take them things. I go for a drink or coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They haven't earned.
No, I love to eat, so that's always. I love restaurants. I love to eat. I have my favorites, and that's where I'm comfortable, and I know I can jive and I have a vibe in that place. If you go somewhere you're not familiar with to try to appease her, then you're trying to, you know, keep from tripping over your own dick at the same time, trying to make it successful with her. It's a big fucking mess.
So Coco just responded to you, Joe. Here you go. 100%.
And then just to make a fucking decision. That's all they want. Women don't want to have to think and decide. Because guess what? If you let her down and the place is not that good, then you're like, oh, well, maybe next time it's better. She sees it as a big failure. Like, oh my God, I blew this. I can't believe the food. Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the rest of the guys so we can get to the videos. Okay. So Wraith, female relationship coaching, dating, mentoring. What are your thoughts? You're going to tell us how you think. Give us a shot.
I don't know. I don't watch them either. So, but
Just
I know
your
some of the ones.
Yeah.
I know some of the ones you've been talking about. I've seen them, you know, in different podcasts with debating on Value Network and a couple other things. But I guess my question is to young men. We live in a pretty much female-oriented society, and you've been trying to do everything that society tells you on how to date women up to this point, and you haven't been successful. Why would you go for more of that and think it's going to change? That's insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over again and looking for change. We live in a society where anywhere from 60 to 70% of families now are single parents, and most of those are female single parents. And all this coaching and stuff that you've got all the way through your life has led you to the point where you can't get a girl down. And just following another woman's advice isn't going to get you a date.
Right.
It's not going to get you laid. Because like a lot of everybody here said, most women don't know what they want in a man. They do know what they don't want.
That's true.
So that's how I start my question is, what don't you want in life, not what you want in life.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I think they serve a purpose. I think there's some that are more geared towards trying to teach women these days how to be women men would want to make desire.
That's starting to come on, I think.
Yeah.
It's still small, but I like the idea of it. I really do.
And I think that's where you'll see the dating change goes.
Mhm.
Because I think most men naturally know how to act. It's what they do to try to meet social norms that prevents them from acting the way they know they need to act. Way too many times I talk to these guys, and you do this, and I know all you guys have talked to other men, and they'll sit there and they'll start explaining why they think they're unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And why they're unsuccessful is they quit. They stopped being true to themselves. They stopped being their authentic selves. Yeah. And they gave in to what everybody on social media says. Yeah. And 90% of what we do as mentors and coaches is to teach men just to be themselves. Embrace the confidence that you need. Embrace that confidence and use it.
You kind of got to get some mentorship to understand who you are, because you got to get the hard questions.
Right.
As part of those rites of passage is just to understand what the base level you is, and then you build from there. And that is when you're actually start accomplishing those things and developing.
Yeah. And I think, yourself, because you talk to people, Joe talks to people, and I know Phil, as he's coaching, and when you start talking to people, you start understanding that's the first thing men don't know about themselves is who they really are, because they've never been allowed to figure that out. Yeah. They've been told who society wants them to be. And it's even worse now if you look at, the new American Psychological Association's vision of what a man is and what masculinity is.
Let me ask you, keeping that thought in mind, how effective do you think the female coaching is for the men to discover that in themselves, knowing that we have a feminine primary social order?
Well, I don't think you see anybody going on the YouTube and talking about, hey, I took this lady's advice and she's my coach, and saying, and it changed my world.
Okay.
You just don't see that.
Yeah.
And I think when I watch couples teach dating, and I've seen some of those pop up on YouTube, it's a disaster.
Yeah, dating. I've seen that too.
I 100% agree with that. When you see these couple coaches,
right?
What is the guy always like?
It's always very effeminate, very
always.
Yep.
You'll see him always praising her. Oh, and she does this and she does that. And the great thing about her is this. You'll never hear her say, this dude leads, he's strong, he's got
his supply, man. Don't mess with a man's supply. Good point. Yeah.
Maybe the next show will be about the dangers of the couple.
Oh my God. We could put something together, because there is that for sure.
That's a fucking
guys, let's move through so we can get to HUD's videos.
Yeah, but just to close out, I think, men should listen to men, women should listen to women. And if you're a woman and you're out there wanting to understand that, find a woman that understands real men. Because if you don't, you're just going to be doing the same thing you've been doing, and it's not going to change for you.
Don't listen to the 48-year-old angry cat lady.
Yeah,
No,
dude, that's
but
the thing. To listen to a woman with a quality man, if you're a woman, like this dating coaches.
yeah, and if that's your desire, listen to the one that's kept it together for 20, 30 years. That would be your best bet.
And go ahead. I don't want to hold it up.
Yeah,
I'll
no
get
worries.
back.
Let's get to Mark. If you have anything else that you might add on these female coaches, I mean, for dating and for relationship issues that are become so popular all of a sudden, what do you think of the categories I put them in? Mark, you're muted. You are muted, Mark.
Yeah, I was clicking the wrong thing. Okay, am I here now? Well, you talk about the women day. I have watched some of them because I was married for 12 years, and then I was out of the dating market for about 20 years because I raised my kids till they got big enough. So I come into this social media dating age, and I didn't know anything. So I went out with a few girls, and I got burnt one time. So I started looking, like one of the guys said, nobody comes here because they're just, I think I'll watch some content creators about dating. Usually it's because they've been burnt or things went south or whatever. So I listened to a lot of different creators. And I did listen to some of the women, but I honestly can't tell you who any of them that I listened to were, but I can remember the men because to me, they just don't have the backbone. If you're a man and you're going through a hard time, 9 times out of 10, if you're using them as a coach, I never used one as a coach, but what they're going to say is, well, just tell her how you feel. You need to be more open with her. And we all know what happens there. I just had a guy that was asking me for help today, and I was talking to him. He had been in a relationship for over a year. It was going good. He came in strong. He was a good man, but then he started opening up and sharing himself with her. And then she lost interest, and she didn't even really know from what he said. She couldn't even tell why she didn't want to be with him anymore. So that guy, if he goes and asks a woman coach about that, she's probably going to say, well, you need to just wait and be open for her he needs to go back to being the man he was when he started out with, more of a reserved, stoic man, because that's what she was attracted to. And I can't see her, nor do I remember any women telling men to be like that. It's okay to be yourself if the self you are is the man that women are attracted to. And that is not, in my opinion, a man who's got his feelings on his sleeve, who's vulnerable, because that woman wants to feel safe with you. And she doesn't feel safe with a man who's weeping or crying at every time, something happens, or if he runs over an animal in the street or something like that. So women it comes from their perspective. And as we all know, men and women are different, contrary to the social narrative of this modern age. And when you have a woman telling you something about how women are and when they don't even know the reality of what attracts them. I have heard a few speak as if they do understand it, but I think in the end, if it comes down to the nitty gritty, they're going to tell you from their point of view, especially if the man is hurting and he's desperate for answers. I don't think she's going to say, you just need to cut that off and walk away, work on yourself. And if she comes back, then you've changed yourself, and then you can see about getting back together with her. I've never seen a woman say that. But as we're a man, and I think like Joe said, and maybe Wraith too, we're going to tell people what they need to hear. If it pisses them off, too bad. This is what's going to work. And if you don't want to listen, then I can't help you. A woman is more worried about how the man feels, and she wants to nurture him, I think. That's just my opinion on it.
No, that's great, man. I really appreciate that. At the end of this, I'm going to, once we watch the videos, I'll tell everybody what I think about also how men coach women on dating. I actually think they're better than women teaching women to coach. But we'll save that to the end. Randall, you have anything to add? And I'm going to have Sam, but we want to get to those videos, so let's keep it brief. There's something that we haven't heard yet. What's your thoughts? I mean, you're a young guy. You sought out coaching, Randall. It's worked pretty good for you. You and I have worked together. And you're familiar with some of these, in the different categories. What's your thoughts on them?
So I've had more to deal with the people in the third category, the woo-woo, the feels good type of
Yeah.
coaches, because back in my blue pill days, those were who I watched.
Hmm.
Because I went to these women for self validation. I went to them to be told that I was good enough as I was. I wasn't ready to face the truth from Thor, from Wraith, from John. To be have my flaws pointed out was painful. And a lot of these men today are not taught to seek out the pain. They're taught to avoid it. So they
Yeah.
run to these women coaches to get their validation from a female, and then that's why they're willing to pay them money, is because they think that's what a relationship is. The man gives money, the woman gives good feelings. So that's why you have these simps out here watching chicks fall asleep on Twitch. That's why there's hot tub streams, is because it's easier for the man to just pay them than to improve himself and earn their attention.
Wow, Randall. I appreciate you, man. You have some good thoughts there. For such a young guy, I'm glad you're here. That's excellent because you've experienced it and then you've moved on. So you did learn something. Felt good. But what the real medicine is something different, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a salve, but it wasn't the cure.
Excellent. Sam saying yes.
Yeah, basically, so I was married before, and when the way I attracted her in the first place was just me not caring as much, and it was actually some of the marriage counseling that I went through from a woman, which helped dissolve that.
Oh, tell us, please.
Yeah, so basically, she was saying, "Oh, you got to be considerate of her feelings and this, that, and the other," and that was exactly the opposite of how we got together in the first place, which ended up ruining it. And so afterwards. Oh, because this was a period when I just started to come into my own, about 25 when I met her, which is like the time when you really kind of come into your own as a man, in my opinion, for most men. And yeah, so after that kind of fell apart, the red pill space, as it were, kind of just told me it was okay to do the things I was already doing. You know, I was already naturally like that before I started listening to any type of female advice whatsoever. Best thing to do, in my opinion, is to listen to men. And like Wraith said, you're just retraining yourself to be how you are, you know,
Mhm.
to be dominating and to ask, you know, to tell her what you want and to command respect as opposed to demanding respect, and to do what you like. And when you start seeing the responses, that's really what makes the difference. We're action oriented, you know. So listen to a woman, I think, first of all, it's so antithetical because if you actually want to be successful with women, you don't you consider what women have to say, but it's not like it's kind of amusing, right? Okay, I'll consider it. Great. Yeah, but you're still about your mental point of origin and what you want to do. So putting yourself even in that frame in the first place is oxymoronic. And yeah, I just think that like the whole idea of first of all marriage counseling, but also listening to women with regards to relationships, just a horrible idea. I think it's Donovan who says if a woman is leading the relationship, she's leading it off a cliff. So you have to you have to like that goes with anything. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents on the matter.
Okay. Sounds great. I mean, that's fantastic. Guys, I want to just stop right here just for a second. We got at least 20 people listening, and I've got 10 likes. So let's get the likes up, share the stuff. And by the way, that's just my channel. This week, we are live on 2 other channels. We've got HUD's channel we're broadcasting to at the same time. We got Glenn Lawrence Presents. His woman is in the chat, so she's helping us out there as well. And next week, all the YouTube channels will be streaming the DragonShip. So share and like. I mean, this is great stuff, guys. Yeah, sure, it's a small audience, but you're not going to get this anywhere else. So check it out. Also next week, and I'll remind you at the end, we'll be moving to Saturdays at 10 a.m. Saturdays at 10 a.m. So that'll be really exciting to make the move. It'll be fun for you guys in Tokyo. You'll have to get up a little early. All right, Mac? But that's okay. All right. So I want to move on with this, and I want to turn it over to HUDs. And if he could play, so we're going to play some of these videos for the audience just to demonstrate what we just talked about. And the first one I believe that we have up, I want you to decide which category of the 3. Let me remind you the categories I had. I had 1, which was the duplicators of the red pill. They're putting out some good information, but from a female perspective, and it is what it is, not the originators. And then we've got the pick and pulls, which is pulling a little of the red pill, a little of the social constructionism, and then wrapping it up in comedy or emotional appeals. So, no, it's not Rule Zero time. We're coming on after Rule Zero, Eric. It'll be after. So don't worry. That's Pacific time. And I'll put it all up. Don't worry about that. And then the third one is the esoteric foo-foo sales at all costs. So we'll let you decide. Huds, can we put up the first one? That would be Selena. And Selena's going to talk about fishes and why you should learn from the fish and not the fisherman or the kill or something like that. Hunting. She's going to do hunting too. So,
all right.
Let's
I'm
do
pulling it up right now.
Man, you've got control.
You got it, brother.
If not, you can let me know. Here we go. Let it run.
Is interested, she will. It's funny that men are always speaking to me about fishing and saying, why listen to a woman? You know, she's a fish and she's not a fish, blah, blah, blah. And then in essence, they don't actually understand core energy and their core masculine energy, which actually pursues a woman with intent. Dating is not hunting. It's not going out for the kill, which is what a lot of pickup artists teach in terms of the pickup culture of hooking up. But when you are actually dating with intent, we are not dealing with deer or fish. We are dealing with connection and humans. And society likes to favor us versus them, good versus evil. And the whole world is made up of duality, but at the same time, it's not about killing or getting the kill or being victorious or winning. It's the competition of providership, of leadership, of accomplishment, achieving. That's true masculine energy. Woman is.
All right, bring us back up, Huds. What category? Let's go round table, and we'll start down at the very bottom of the screen with, did we lose somebody? Or did I drop somebody?
No, I just changed the format.
Oh, okay, great. Well, we'll just start at the bottom of the screen as it is now. Wraith, what do you think, man? Do you have a category for her? Is she one of the categories I mentioned?
I think she's kind of a woo-woo.
Yeah, do we all agree that's kind of woo-woo, maybe sells at all costs? Did you notice that the grade level she was appealing to was probably just around adolescent? Did you guys notice that? At least that's my thought on it. Mac, what'd you think? She was kind of cute, though.
I mean, she's gonna appeal to Sims big time. Like, I mean, just, you know, she's obviously hot, but she's full of shit. Like, no one ever said going out and picking up women is about killing. Like, you know, they're like, oh, hunting. It is absolutely hunting. When you go out and you're looking for women, it is hunting. You know, obviously we don't mean we're not fucking serial killers. We're not trying to kill anyone, but it is like, absolutely, you have to go out there, and it for men, it's a numbers game. We have to approach a lot of women. We have to, you know, so it is very similar to hunting in the sense that we're going out and we're searching, like, you know, yeah, it depends, you know, it depends on how you want to play it, but yeah, I mean, like when I go out and do day game and go out, it's like you're talking to a lot of women. You're approaching, you see a woman, you go up and talk to her, and so. Yeah, that's why we say you're going out for the hunt, you know. I'm going hunting, you know. But yeah, she'll never understand the concept. She probably doesn't even understand that it's a numbers game for men. It has to be like it's just the world.
Yeah,
in the way men. You know?
You notice the emotional appeal too.
If it was any other way,
I was going to touch on that, the emotional appeal, the core masculine energy and the connection, and trying to tug on your fucking. Yeah, that's when you know you're being sold a pack of shit, is when you start that nonsense.
I thought that was a pretty good example. The rest of you guys want to comment on it? I mean, did you notice she had a lot of vocal fry too?
Yeah. God.
Very adolescent, but it definitely does appeal in that kind of way that a simp would really be interested, because you get that emotional appeal if you're not prepared for it.
Good.
She did notice. You notice she talked on two different sides. It's not, but it is. Did you notice that? She made the comment that it is, but it isn't. She was holding two different thoughts there. Good example.
Look at what did we say earlier about age? Like, where's she at right now?
Both
Matt,
ends.
based on your professional opinion and your experience, where's this chick at in life as far as what she's looking for from a man?
Well, I mean, she's obviously talking about providership. So she's talking about, she's at that, she's probably appealing to the girls in their late 20s.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah,
if a woman,
Now it's about the connection and the energy and this, that, and the
garbage. Like, just garbage. She's no idea that men can't operate like that. Oh, it's about connection. And how are you going to find the connection? You have to go and meet chicks. You have to go and do a lot of approaches. You have to go and deal with a lot of women to find one.
Well, you got that, but also, I mean, when she talks about positive male energy, what she's really saying is, I want someone that meets all my needs without having any requirements for me to meet his needs. That's exactly what she's saying.
I mean, I think if a woman is reassuring you of something, she's lying to you in most cases, because it should be the opposite dynamic. She's anxious. It's a good relationship. You're assuring her it's fine. It's okay. Don't worry. If she's reassuring you, that's a problem. And that's the whole dynamic of this. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Like, no.
I think that appeals to the desire to be mothered to these.
Yep.
that are
That's
simple.
it. That's it.
Yeah. That was pretty interesting. Had you got a comment on her? She's a sweetie, but all of her videos are like that.
But she's not that great looking. Take that makeup off.
I didn't say she was good. I said she's a sweetie. She's fun to watch as an entertainment thing for sure.
But they'll contradict themselves all the time. I mean, if you've never seen the girls on Fresh and Fit, you'll see they'll say one thing and then they'll say the exact opposite in the next sentence.
Right.
It's what they do, and they project as well. Like women will say they want a guy that's about that'll be vulnerable and all that. And what they're really saying is they want to be vulnerable with a guy. They don't want the guy to be vulnerable.
That is correct.
Excellent point.
Coco, you're right, but make the assumption, because all we have is the video. So on the assumption, I will guarantee she's a woman. That's what she wants, because that's what they all want. It's in your nature. Good comment. Thank you, Coco. Yeah. Anybody else want to comment on Selena before we move to the next one?
I just find it so fascinating because, like, literally, this girl's young. I don't think that she's late 20s, but she's preaching to late 20s. And she's acting like an authority at like 23, 24. Maybe she's probably 25, 26, to be honest. And she's acting like an authority to those older than her. How are you an authority? What makes you an authority? And I find it fucking fascinating, to be honest.
For me, it's that sells at all cost.
Yeah.
In the category.
She could genuinely think, and this is the scary part about taking advice from a woman about dating, is that she could genuinely think she's coming from a good place, trying to help somebody.
I think so too.
They could realistically believe that shit. And
I think all of them you'll see tonight's like that.
Toxic, destructive advice.
But that's the issue. That's the issue, Joe.
Exactly.
That she doesn't believe it herself.
That's where the problem is.
She believes that she's doing something good, but she doesn't actually believe it herself. If she looks at herself in the mirror, she doesn't believe it. But she doesn't think about that. And that's what I see with a lot of these female dating coaches, is that they give advice that sometimes can be good advice, but they're not looking at themselves in the mirror.
Yeah, I doubt they follow their own advice. Yeah. It's doubtful they follow their own advice.
Right.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the next one. We'll categorize it, and that would be number 2 on the list. That's attraction dynamics. This gal, she's I would say she's barely above average. She might be considered, just looking at her, might be the girl next door, something, right? So she has this kind of a simp appeal, and in my opinion, she's conservatively dressed. But I want you to really carefully follow the words that she's going to put out. And she's pretty popular as a one-on-one coach and a relationship coach, as well as a dating coach. Very much geared towards the LER, but I really pay attention. Now, don't pay attention to the fact that she might have had a few gummies prior to this, but kind of get through that, and then you'll see.
Back on their past relationships and
wish they could have been more emotionally available. And now emotional availability is something that we all want to have in our relationships, right? But why is it so hard for some people to show up emotionally even when they want to in a challenging situation? Well, that's because the problem is growing up and their experiences in life, they were shown that when they were vulnerable or they were emotionally available, their needs were honored or met, and they couldn't even count on the person. So they just sort of made up that it wasn't really worth it anymore. And the worst part about this is it's really hard to have a long-lasting relationship if you pull away when those challenging situations come up. The solution is to understand who you are and what coping mechanisms you've been using from your childhood, how they're affecting you now, and really stepping into contrary action and leaning into showing that emotional side to your partner, asking for help, asking for the connection that you want instead of pulling away, maybe still giving yourself some space, but a little less distance than you're normally used to. And this is what I show men how to do. I show men how to lean into that discomfort so they can be emotionally available and connect with their partner and build that deep intimacy. Okay? Super important. And want to do it, but in the moment, you must have those tools emotionally to soothe yourself so that you can be present and stay connected, even when it feels safer initially to pull away. So to let go of that fear, you must create
That's like 3 minutes.
Okay.
where it feels safe to lean into the connection.
Shut her up.
Three things, guys, real quick. I'm gonna say something nice. I loved her hat.
Oh man,
The other
I was
two
gonna
words-
knock that hat, bro.
The other two words, Xanax and wine.
Big time.
So what category do you think she fell into, Phil? I mean,
Esoteric woo, man. What the hell? Emotional.
Hell's
Lean
it all
into your,
what did you mean by that?
let me lean into my emotionalism with my girl. Yeah, and let me set my whole friggin' life on fire. That sounds like a great idea.
See how well that works out.
The hat, the gratitude hat, I would give her maybe like a 2.
I'm having fun here. Might as well put her foot on my genitals, all right?
Bro, man,
But she was so nice.
She's so nice. She's got a grating voice. Jesus, man, shut her up.
Yeah.
But seriously, the
Really?
big thing for me, man, is that leaning into your emotionalism with as a man in a relationship, you will set your whole life on fire. Be vulnerable? No. Like I would be vulnerable with one of these dudes on this panel before I'd be vulnerable with my girl or my girlfriend, period.
Exactly.
Dude, I would come.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
That's exactly cute.
It's
Exactly.
like being
Blah,
married.
blah,
It was
blah.
like being married to her, right?
Well,
Jesus.
I don't care if it's a man.
Did you see her eyes too? She was half
She was
closed, man. She was bombed.
baked, overdone. But never listen to a man or a woman who tells you, the way to a woman's heart and trust is emotional availability. And look, I'm not saying you have to be emotionally immature. You have to be emotionally mature to know. But to constantly vomit how you feel, and this is something that I'm about to do a video on, is feel. I've been hearing a lot of men talk and say, well, I feel like this and I feel like that. That should be like the very last word when it comes to making any decision or approaching any situation, is how you fucking feel. It makes no difference to anyone or the outcome of the situation, is how you feel.
Right.
And the absolute, and Phil's right. This is why you have boys. This is why you have a group of men that you trust and lean on, that you can tell if you are emotionally distraught, that you can go tell them for a little bit. Then they can tell you, at some point, like, all right, you're starting to sound like a bitch.
Yes.
Where are you going with this? Why are you telling me this? Do you want a fucking answer, or do you just want to cry? And that the quickest way to push your woman away and turn her off is to start vomiting how you feel about it. Especially if it's, oh, I'm depressed, or, you know, I'm unsure about this.
Anything.
Yeah. I don't feel like you love me anymore.
Oh,
You love me?
Jesus.
I know from a coaching and mentoring standpoint, the first thing I do is I start teaching men how to rethink things, because most of them are in their feelings. And I start every problem out with, how do we solve this problem? And if they get to the point where they can solve the problem, then I'll ask them, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Because, you know, for generations upon generations, men have always thought first and felt second. And what we have today in society is a lot of men who feel first and never think.
No, and I hear it. I hear it a lot, not just from younger guys either, some grown-ass men in marriages, and they lead, and it really gets under my skin. Like, just in casual conversation, well, I feel like this should have gone like this, or I feel like we should. Like, stop saying that. Like, that's, you putting a bad fucking, I don't know what to call it, like you instilling some really fucked up thinking and ability to be a man when you lead with the words, I feel like.
Right.
It
And
doesn't
like I
matter.
said, I spend most of my time not listening to that and telling them, okay, I don't care what you feel. Tell me what you think about this. Let's get into the rational side of life. Okay. And start deconstructing that. And then you'll see that those feelings are why you made the bad decisions.
She has a point on that as far as the past relationships. People do carry that forward.
Yeah,
I
but
was just
why?
fascinated by the kind of the word salad and how she got there. It's very esoteric, and it's, I don't think it's very constructive for a man to get that kind of advice. It was very babbly. It was really difficult to follow, but I won't discount that she did have a good point there. And I'm going to address Laura. Why can't we ever have actual women on the show? Well, we can, and we will. We will have some shield maidens on for sure. There's several that work with us, as in our first category we talked about, that are on the ticket to come and talk about these very important issues today, particularly about modern men and women and how they relate in the dating and long-term relationship environment. Because
Well, I want to say something to Laura.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Laura, I intentionally don't slam women, and I'm not trying to slam women now.
Not at all.
Every comment that I've made has been towards men and the way men react to information that they've been provided.
And that's 99% of what happens on here.
Okay. I don't think
I'm the 1%.
All right, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, but I don't think none of us hate women. None of us are misogynistic. We just understand that the problem within a relationship always starts with a man, because a man has to lead it. And if he's not leading, that's the problem.
Yes, and I'd lead with that. Like, I want every man that I ever work with to understand, like, you're in this because of you. There's nobody to blame. You're not a fucking victim. Yes, you might have had an unfavorable childhood and upbringing, but, you know, at some point, at any point when you're ready to make a change and instill a change into your life and internalize a different identity, you have to take 100% accountability for where you are and the results you've gotten out of life.
Absolutely. Does anyone else have this thing when a woman is talking for a long enough period of time that you just start to tune out? Like,
yes, I definitely. I tried focusing on her. I tried my best.
I know.
And I started to get annoyed, and then I just tuned her out. I was just like, I don't even know what this chick's trying to say, but it isn't worth the brain span I have to put into this for her to coach. So I don't know if that's how she normally delivers things to her people.
It is, Randall.
needs
She's
help.
very esoteric. And that's why she fell into that category on the esoteric woo-woo side, because it's kind of hard to follow. Now, I will give guys the tip. If you can learn a little bit about the esoteric side, it's chick crack. And when we talked about projecting, she's projecting what she feels. She really feels this is what men need, you know. And unfortunately, she talks about vulnerability, emotional openness, and, you know, men have been extremely harmed. We did an entire show about what Brene Brown did in 2010 by changing the definition, the modern definition of vulnerability, and then writing 7 books on it and going around doing all the TED Talks, so much so She worked with, gender studies groups and all that stuff to broadcast that men have to be vulnerable. This is a weakening of men. This is exactly opposite of who's attracted
But-
to men. It's a really insidious thing. And it's pervaded all of these. You'll see it again in some of these videos we put up.
But it's such bad advice. It's really harmful advice to men to even consider leaning into their vulnerability or their emotionalism, because as soon as if a guy plays with that kind of fire, he's gonna, and then they'll come to find that she's sending nudes to some Chad she met on Tinder or in the nightclub, and they're wondering why it's happening. It's happening because you leaned into your emotions with your woman, and she's extremely turned off by it. It's repulsive to women, for a man to show like weakness and vulnerability, and that's the cold hard truth of like, that's one of the darkest sides of female nature. It's like one of the it's one of the things where they'll constantly just regurgitate this thing where they want men to be vulnerable, and it's pure fucking horseshit. It's literal garbage.
It is, and what it actually means is they want to know. I think they conflate emotional availability from this mysterious side of the guy that actually turns them on. They want to know, why is this work? What is going on? What's going on, and what's going on with him that does this to me? And they think it has to do with emotions.
Well, what they
I
don't
have a
understand, violence
different-
comes from emotionalism too.
I have a different theory on it entirely. I think it's the woman testing her partner, her man, to see whether or not he's gonna succumb and become emotional. This guy's so great, he must actually be weak in some way. Let me give him a test really quick, and that's what they're asking for. They're asking to confirm it. They don't want you to they don't want you to become emotional. They don't want you to comply. It's a compliance test. They want you
And yet
to.
they will coach and write books on how we should do it. Now, I will add to it. There's a kernel of truth if you just change the word to sensitivity. Occasionally use strategic sensitivity, and it will butter that bread nicely, so to speak.
And Sam and I walked over each other. But violence comes from emotionalism too. Okay, when you can't express or rationalize your thoughts and you start feeling them, that's where violence comes from. That's how men become abusive, because they lose that control.
Yeah,
That's a really good point.
When women say, "Well, I want you to be emotional," no, you don't.
Yeah,
definitely not, for sure.
And like Max said, the vulnerability, it equals weakness. That is the knife across the throat of any fucking relationship where there has attraction involved, any romantic relationship.
Right, and that's the definition of vulnerability, is weakness.
Yeah.
So they're pushing for men to be weak, and women don't want weak men. They want strong men. And
to jump off what Sam said, it is subconsciously, I believe, a test to see, like,
could be
is this guy going to fucking really do what I just asked him to do? Is this guy really going to be fucking weak and break down to me?
And then if he does, then
you lose all trust and attraction.
Yeah, they don't even understand why. They don't understand why. I don't know. I love him. I'm just not in love with him anymore. You ever heard that?
Oh yeah.
And then, like Max said, Chad's getting fucking pictures of her snatch. Dresses up for girls' night.
She's looking for somebody that's got some strength, some guy that won't open up and be vulnerable.
Sure. Hudge, do we have Jessie J? I think we should play Jessie J. She's in a different category.
I'm ready to go.
Let's play Jessie J, guys. You'll enjoy this. It's a minute and long, I think.
Let me just get it shared.
She is a dating coach as well. Pretty funny to watch.
Okay, so I recently came across this thing on Instagram where this guy shot his shot to 32 different women. He accidentally put in a group message, "Hey girl, you're so pretty. I think you're fine. What's up? How you doing?" And then naturally all these girls saw that he sent this in a direct message in a group chat. And obviously he immediately goes, "Oh shit, it's sent to all of you in one message." Anyway, hilarious shit that made me think to myself, this is why bad boys always win, because they just do it. They're in the game. They're the ones trying. They don't give a fuck. They don't even see women as human beings. They're just objects that may or may not go with their flow. And if they don't, it's not their fault, because these women are inanimate objects that they will use and abuse to their advantage. But here's the thing. They're the ones taking these shots while you're sitting back and thinking to yourself, I don't want to bother her. Or even, I don't want to look stupid and say something stupid. I have better things to do today. In my early stages of coaching, I had this client who was Mexican. English was his second language, but he had a full ride to UCLA, and he was a very intelligent guy. And he went out every single night. He went to bars, clubs, and parties when, again, he was in college. And every single night, he'd go up to a shit ton of women, and to each woman, he would say, "Oh, hello, let's have sex." And you know what? It worked at least twice a week. So if it worked at least twice a week, that means every month, this kid 2 times 4. This dude was fucking chicks 8 times off of, "Do you want to have sex with me?" Now,
Yep. So what category does she fit in? That's enough of Jesse J. But you see her stick, right?
Annoying and intolerable. That category.
Yep. So she definitely fits in the pick and pull, using comedy, not so much emotional appeals, but she is she's on to a grain of truth. I think we can all admit that.
Absolutely. I think I referred to that earlier on. What about the asshole?
And that will connect with a lot of folks. So I'm not throwing any shade at her at all, And she is she's doing it on purpose, because some of these are uncomfortable truths, Coco. And it would be socially more harming to her if she didn't throw that shtick in. It's kind of excusable with that shtick. So, and it's actually bringing her some success. If you look at her history, it's growing doing that, and she has a few others like that are pretty harsh on women too. So I was kind of surprised by her, but it doesn't really I was surprised by her take, but then I thought about it, and it's like, I think we're going to see more like that as this does start to enter the mainstream,
One thing I have to say, and I think that Mac, you and I both can agree on this, even the best, it's a 10% close rate. So it's always been a numbers game. That's it. So it's like
Right.
yeah, she's right when what she's talking about, but it's just
10% is top tier numbers.
Yeah.
I don't use that opening. Do you want to have sex? But there's some truth to it. Like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Like, there's no real pickup lines. It's like you could technically go up to girls. I wouldn't recommend it, but
yeah,
like if you do it enough, like and you're confident about the way you say it, it's gonna work sometimes. And it depends.
Mac,
It's not.
I got one for you here and I can't believe I'm going to say this right now, but whatever, it's funny. I've gotten laid twice before off of walking up to a girl and saying, "I have diarrhea." But it's the way that you say it and then how you carry it afterwards. And it works.
You can
there are no pickup lines.
Yeah, you can pretty much say anything if you're confident in your joke and you're having fun with it. Like, it's like, there's just so many different ways to play it. There's not, it's about can you embrace enjoy the conversation, have fun about it, not take it too seriously. It really is. It really is just a numbers game. And the better you get at it, the more confident you become, the more success the higher success rate you're going to have. But I mean, part of rejection is just obviously part and parcel of the game when you're trying to sleep with a lot of women. It just is what it is. Yeah.
But you definitely get better with practice. I mean, that's really it, guys.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, of course. I mean, it's it's like going to the gym. I mean, if you've never worked out before, you're only going to be able to do so many reps. It's like, but as you train, as you get better, you start to be able to do more reps. So it's the same with game. You start off, you might suck at it, and you're not going to. You might approach 100 women, get 0, but you keep at it. You know, you close higher and higher. You get more and more successful as you just start to figure it out. You start to put 2 and 2 together, and you know, you just start having more success. You know, even, you know, with the, because it's all about women can you know, women can see when you're not confident, when you're faking it, and it doesn't matter if you say all the right things. Like if it's not you, if it sounds like you fucking studied it or you've read it from a book, it's just she's gonna go, what the fuck, you know? It's just gonna be unattractive, you know. But if you're just not giving a fuck and you're just trying to have fun and you're just like kind of combining your sexual energy with your confidence, it's a good thing, you know. Because too many guys are too buckish about it. They roll up and they're just like playing it really safe, like really nervous about the interaction, and it just doesn't. It obviously doesn't work. But when you roll up, like, you know, thinking, shit, I want to fuck this chick, you know, like, but, you know, but obviously
hey, Mac, Joe's got to go. He's telling me he's got to go, so I want to give him a chance to plug his stuff, and then we'll keep going. We actually had one more video that's about a minute long, but I don't think he can stay for it. But she's a lot nicer, Joe. You'd like her voice, I'm sure.
Probably not. I'll take your word for it.
Okay. So tell us what you're up to. I know you offer services, and we're going out on 3 channels right now. We'll go out on all the rest next time, including yours. So let us know what you do, what you're all about, Joe.
Look, I help guys with mindset. Like Ray said, I think there's an innate instinct on all men to be authentically the men they're supposed to be. And I just help you find that. Like if you had a breakup and you're trying to get, you know, you put yourself in a shitty position in a relationship, showing up weak, and you're looking to recover that and rebuild yourself, I'm the guy. Relationship recovery, breakup recovery, mindset, physical. And it goes beyond that, but we don't have time to get into details. There's a great panel today, great show. Thank you for having me again. And you can reach me at Proud Masculine on Instagram, proudmasculine.com, my YouTube channel as well, at Proud Masculine. Easy. Just go Proud Masculine, you'll find me somewhere.
Thanks, Joe. Skull.
Peace. Good seeing everybody.
Likewise.
Peace out, man.
Okay, Mac, I got one more. I do. Now, Hud, you have some too, but let's go ahead and finish the last one. Emily. Emily's a sweetie. She's going to talk nice, but see if you can catch what her shtick is. Okay?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share it.
She's pretty popular, and she definitely looks like the girl next door, but watch her age.
More about masculine in love. In case any of you don't know me yet, I'm a dating and love coach who empowers driven, amazing men to go from confused to confident in their love lives. Together, we uncover what's truly holding them back in dating, so they can step into their most confident selves, integrate into their masculine energy, and attract their dream woman. Men are taught specific stories from a young age about what it means to be a man. That in order to be successful in life and attractive to women, you must man up, hide your emotions, be tough. And your ability to problem solve and persevere through life's twists and turns has helped you find success in many parts of your life. But they're also the reason why you're still struggling in dating. These stories disconnect you from yourself and emotionally available women. They constantly tell you you're not good enough. Any slip up, any false turn means weakness and failure. And instead of becoming tougher, you start to lose yourself. You've programmed yourself to second guess who you truly are and what you truly want. I know how much emotionally available women crave connection with a high value man like yourself. She doesn't want the cookie cutter version of you who's afraid to open up.
Okay, so I'll just give my take on it right now. She has lots of grains of truth in there, but it is a giant emotional appeal. What category do you think she fell into? Anybody?
Duplicator.
A duplicator of the red pill?
She's a pick and pull.
Okay.
She's talking about that masculine.
I think it's pick and pull too, and she's excellent at sales. I think there's a man behind this. And if you think about it, she is giving him that emotional appeal, right? Because she's right about men growing and listening to these things, but there's a hole in their game. And she's right. There is a hole in their game. And she's the only solution. I think there's a man behind this one. She's got that homegirl look, and she's popular. That's Emily Freeman.
Did you catch what she said? We'll do this together.
Yeah. Oh, God. She's great. You know what? Total respect. I mean, she's got it. But I think that there is a man behind her with this. That's just my gut instinct here after watching her stuff. Very, very contrived. And yet and I sped it up a little bit, but she has that soft feminine voice. This is definitely the emotional appeal. And I think she will get a lot of business like this.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's going to be the best advice, Phil, in the long run for these guys, because I don't think on her, she's really going to call out the BS. She's going to be the make you feel better. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
But a better one of the bunch as far as she's got the grift, I mean, it's not a grift. I mean, this is real. She's a good salesperson on this. I kind of put her in the sales, but in between that and the pick and pull. She's got somebody behind her. What's your sense, Wraith?
I think she's very polished, like you said, and I think that she's going to appeal to not the overly sensitive guy. She's going to appeal to that guy that kind of lives in his emotions, but he has that rational understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And, he has more emotional intelligence than the totally emotional guy. And he's like, he can catch on and listen to what she says, and he can say, yeah, that sounds rational to me. But there was a lot of, what is rational.
She's coding it. It's really emotional.
Right.
But it's not. But it does have that flavor. If I'm cutting this up, we'll do it together. I mean, it is very polished that way, but it is all emotional appeal.
Right. But like I said, I think she'll appeal for a guy probably in his 40s who hasn't had too many bad relationships, but is looking for someone to settle down with.
Mm-hmm.
That's her niche she's looking for.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, he hasn't been, zeroed out to the point where he doesn't like women or doesn't want to be in relationships anymore. He still has hope. She's trying to reach the guy that still has hope.
Selling hopium.
So.
There's a hopium crisis.
People love the hopium.
I know it. Pretty amazing, huh?
I never heard that. That's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Huds, you got anything else for us? We want to chop it up?
So I actually, based on timing, I'm going to hold some of my stuff until another show. I've seen a lot of these, and one in particular, like I don't have it pulled up right now, but Dating by Blaine. One of the things that it sucks, and it's like, it's one of those things that when you see somebody succeed and they get thousands of likes and hundreds of thousands of views, and they're giving out bad information, and it's just because it's a pretty prop in front of it. It sucks because we're out here trying to give good information to guys, and us being out here and doing that, we don't get respected for it, or not necessarily not respected for it, but not it doesn't get viewed in the same way. Like, yeah, sorry, I don't have bobs. I don't have big bobs. I don't have I guess I have a cute smile, but it's frustrating. And so I have some things. I know we're coming up on time. I got some things that I think we could do a part 2 on this that I would love to share with everybody.
I have all the time you need, buddy. If you want to keep going, we got more viewers than we had earlier. So I'll tell you this. I'll give you a little analogy. So I know you're frustrated sometimes because it feels like you're not getting traction and you're really doing the work. I can remember a time of working with some famous Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighters. Their families were in this Brazilian jiu-jitsu that they learned from the Japanese over 100 years ago. And they had come up with this theory that there's a lot of bullshit in martial arts. And there is a lot of bullshit. This works, that works, but they never test it. And they said, let's test it. No flipping rules. Gouge my eyes, bite me, take my ear off. Do what you got to do. Let's see what works. And they got no respect. And nobody knew about them worldwide until they brought it to America in the 90s. And they still weren't respected. They were a lot of shit talked about the Brazilians, But guess what? Today, there isn't an MMA fight that goes on that those guys aren't at least a purple to black belt level when they enter the ring, even if they're a striker, a boxer, anything. Because why? They spoke the truth. They tested it in the arena. And what you're doing and what Mac is doing and the rest of these guys are testing their theories in the arena. That's what the red pill's about. You test it in real life. Some shit we're going to compare notes on and go, Phil, this shit don't work, man. You know what? This isn't working. Let's get rid of that. Let's try something else. And we're going to test it. And he'll come back to me and says, oh, fuck, Thor, you got to try this shit, man. These girls just melt, man, and they'll do anything you say, and they put a collar on and all this crap. I'm like, okay, I got to test this, Phil. Yeah, you bet, you know. I'm using an analogy, of course, but that's the arena of ideas, and it's going to get messy because things get discarded that we have sentimental stakes in. And we have sentimental stakes in, we don't want to give it up easily. And so HUDs, don't get too discouraged when you see somebody that's
Hey, man,
really emotional.
I'm not discouraged. I'm just frustrated how stupid this shit is. I do have one I can go ahead and throw here.
Let's do it.
If you're open for it.
Oh yeah.
So it's so frustrating. It's frustrating, but like I'm not discouraged. So you're right in the mark with it. I just don't get it. Because like you look at somebody like this and getting thousands of likes, and like I have a contract with Instagram myself. And so like I get like $800, $1,200 a month just by doing stuff with them. But like these people, they just blow it through the water.
Okay, let's hold up right now and bring us back up. Wraith just told me he's got to leave, and I want to give him some screen time here. Full screen.
You got it. All right. We'll touch this afterwards.
Wraith, man, I got to thank you for coming on the panel. I love it. I sure hope you can make Saturdays. You're such a stalwart of information. I don't want to miss a minute.
Yeah, Saturdays are going to be better for me because I use Sundays and Sunday afternoons and evenings for consults. So, because I want guys to start out into the week in the right frame of mind. But if the main thing I want to pass on to guys is, find someone that has experience. Find someone that can help you pull out that real you, that authentic you. And don't take advice that you don't agree with or you don't feel good about. All right. And I stress don't agree with, because I'm not very much into the feelings either. But if you want to work with me, you can get a hold of me on Wraith Tour on Yahoo, Wraith Tour on Facebook, and Wraith Tour on Telegram or Instagram. I'm on all those platforms. Hit me up there. We can have a conversation, and we can decide if we're right to work together. I don't spend a lot of time trying to convince people to work with me because, my message isn't for everyone. But I can tell you, for those ones that do work with me, they become successful. They become successful in their dating life. They become successful in their relationships, and they become successful at their careers. So understand frame is everything. And with that, I'll let you guys go.
Appreciate you. See you next week, buddy.
Yep, I'll be there Saturday.
Awesome. Love it, man. It really is all about men creating a dominant masculine presence for themselves as part of your identity. Let's get back to the video, huh?
Before we dive into it, I fucking love this. Real men seek real men. Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Proverbs. Like, this is from the Bible. I love that. Thank you, 007 MIB. I appreciate that. I just wanted to throw that out there because that's truth, and that's what we do. That's what we do here, is we come together as men and we go ahead and just make ourselves better.
Yep. The real truth is we are at war. Life is war. You're at war to stay alive, and you need to get every advantage.
So I'll go ahead and play this here. So what I want to say on this is that, yes, you should express yourself. You should express your feelings in the beginning but this is not going to solve a problem. Like, I feel like it's so stupid because it's such short and it's just a girl dancing. And this is our dating coaches. This is our female dating coaches. How is being a cute girl dancing around helping us solve the problems? Am I the lunatic here?
Pretty much. No, I'm just kidding. What would Lawrence say? He has that one he had that short clip of The Sopranos about your feelings.
Oh yeah, fuck your feelings.
Fuck your feelings.
Yeah.
But you know, HUD, what it does, it solves her problem. It gives her validation. She's making money off of it. So think about that.
Yeah.
Most people are in it for themselves.
It's just
Okay, so
unbelievable. Go ahead, Bill.
just so I got this clear, so like in the beginning, okay, so we're talking about either picking up a chick, or are we talking about dating for some sort of like long-term strategy or whatever? Which one is we talking about here? Because dating for a long-term strategy, I would not disclose what you were saying. I would clearly lay out my expectations and boundaries, and that's it.
Yep.
And if she can't meet them, then you're not the one. See you later.
Well, this actually comes full circle to what I was talking about before. At the very beginning of the show, is that these girls, the reason why them as female dating coaches get so much traction is because the guys look at them and they're like, oh, if I follow their advice, then I will get a girl like that.
Yeah.
I would say it's wrong. Yeah, I mean, as far as what they're telling you.
Yeah, and it's just a shame that like people don't listen to it. They don't understand, and they just it's hopeful wanting. And trust me, I've actually worked with somebody. Oh God, I've worked with somebody who followed one of these types of people, and they came to me because they were confused as to why they weren't getting their results. Well, no fucking shit. If you're following this type of advice from this type of person expecting this result, you're never going to get there.
You're going to creep them out.
Yeah. And it just sucks. I don't know.
Don't get down about it. You're doing good, man.
I know I'm doing good.
If these guys didn't do this, we wouldn't have anything to chat about, man.
Right. But I just want to know. I just want to know how to help people even more. That's the whole thing.
I'll tell you what, that girl right there, she thinks she's doing good. She's doing the right thing. She's fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
When guys get put in the friend zone, they only have themselves to blame. There's no women don't put guys in the friend zone. Guys put themselves in the friend zone. Like there's no. I never get friend zoned. Like it can't happen. It can't, because I go in and I try and escalate, and if she rejects me, then I'm out. I'm on to the next one. I really don't give a fuck. Like it's getting friend zoned is the weakest shit you can do. Like it's just, you're such a pussy if you're getting put in the friend zone. It's you're putting yourself.
Never happened to me. Never.
Yeah, it's like, and all this, it goes, even for, it goes on a slightly different note for relationships. It's like guys should never be the ones pushing for a relationship. I mean, if you want a relationship, 100%. You're just gonna have to hope that she's gonna beg you for one, and if she's not begging you for a relationship, then she's not the one. That's just that's my 2 cents on that. When guys go, huh?
Mac, how many times have you been begged for a relationship? I know some of your girls want to be the ride or die because you're conditioning in that way.
Some of them do, some of them don't, but it doesn't bother me because I don't want one either way. But
how many times a month do they hit you up for, Mac, what are we?
Yeah, I mean,
what are we, Mac?
I'm used to it at this point, but it's not yeah, I mean, it's something like if your chick is not crying on the phone to you, asking you, what are we and all this, and she's not the one. Like she doesn't like you that much if she's not, because they it's the guys that get cheated on that start begging for the relationship after 3 weeks, after 4 weeks. They're the ones that will end up getting getting cheated on or getting broke up
You
with
just reminded me.
they're entering the relationship, huh?
You just reminded me of a story that's exactly that. I used to work out with some NPC bikini competitors, and one of the gals there I was training, and she was a beautiful Filipina gal, and she was getting these dates, and she had confided in me that she was getting good looking dudes, right? Some of them gym dudes. One of these guys owned a nutrition company, and the issue was, you know what her complaint was? How come they all want to be my boyfriend or giving me flowers and stuff after the second date and asking to be a girlfriend? That was her main complaint for 3 guys within a 3 months. Is
You know
they
what
were
the
all
guys
trying to
conveying?
lock her down and throw it at her. And she, at that point, I could tell she was getting, physically very fit, still young enough that she wanted not that. She wanted the attention and all of that stuff. But the guys, I think, really could have conditioned her because, I talked to her. She was easily conditionable, but they weren't doing it. They were immediately falling into a simp area.
When guys start begging for relationships like really soon into the into the relationship or whatever, they're basically conveying that scarcity, that they haven't, they don't have many other options, that they're very eager to lock someone down. And it just conveys to the girl that he doesn't have that many other options, and we all know that they're very, very unattractive.
Oh, we had a signal problem. Sam, Sam, you're out there in Miami.
Yep.
And you're in that dating market. You're experiencing this firsthand. Are you seeing the guys do the same thing?
I have no idea because I don't hang around any guys that.
Yeah,
Actually, one guy. I know who works. He was working at the front desk of my gym, and he was telling me all about kind of his breakup and how that went. And he was a nice guy. We got along really well, and I just kind of showed him the text messages that were on my phone. And he was like, "What? How do you do that?" I'm like, first of all, it's not by talking about your ex who left you 3 months ago and worrying about her. Like, you gotta. I mean, this is the wrong mentality. But I imagine perhaps there's some segment of the population. Miami's a little bit different dating market. It's kind of everybody's. Everyone's in the game, yeah. So,
well, it's probably good for you to really get to sharpen steel there. So that's probably a big appeal for you right there, right now. I mean, you're awash in poon right now, and I've seen your text, so probably not hard.
Yeah, and it was crazy as like the same podcasts that will be. I've talked to a couple different girls who they'll be reached out to by either Fresh and Fit or some other podcast, Miami podcast. Like it's really common. So I kind of in the same the dating circles. But I mean, I think a lot of it's everyone knows the game here. This is a city of people of men drive around in McLarens and having yachts and stuff like that. You're that's beta bucks is big here. So if you're not doing that type of game, which is most people, but just because of statistical probability, you gotta be able to run some game. But yeah, like I would say that just seems so alien to me when Mac was mentioning that the idea at this stage in my life of like pushing for a relationship. This hasn't, man. When I don't even think I've ever done that.
No, it brings us back to the main point that a lot of the female coaches we watched tonight were pushing in the direction of a relationship. They didn't see it as much else. We didn't really see that 23-year-old just have fun. I haven't seen that segment yet. Maybe HUDs has, maybe Mac has, but I see a lot of the late 20, maybe some of that and some of the post wall. We saw some post wall in there, coaching. So yeah, a lot of projections there as far as the female coaches. So I would hope that when young men that are struggling with relationship and dating would reach out to some men that have experience like HUD, Smack the Day Gamer, get the fundamentals right and understand exactly what women are attracted to. And as you develop your identity, it's going to take some time as a man. You really
Yeah.
don't peak out until you're in your 30s, you know, and then it gets even better. Let me tell you, 60s where it's fucking at, man. So let me tell you.
So actually, I've seen, you know, one thing I will say about HUDs, I've seen him work in real life. Can I tell the story of the burger joint?
Oh, dude, please do.
Okay, so literally, I met this guy for the first time in my life. We're talking about, and he goes, "Yeah, I could totally go talk to this girl. Meanwhile, she's sitting around 3 men, just to her." And he's like, "I could go talk to her. She's mine in like 2 seconds." He walks over to her, and I'm talking with the other guys at the table, like whatever's going on. I look over, he's making out with her, and then within 30 seconds,
What?
I'm not even kidding. This happened.
I believe it though.
Yeah, this happened in North Beach in Miami. I could not believe it. So just like talking about receipts, you'll see it in real life. If you want to learn how to do that, I mean, you would reach out to him, reach out to Mac. I've seen everybody who's on Instagram, if you're following him on Instagram, knows the deal. So I just can't recommend these guys enough. They really know it upside down, inside out. You know, they know the game.
Well, that was a good story. I appreciate that. It doesn't really surprise me. I mean, I chatted with HUDs and Mac, and both these guys helped out on the infamous Game 9000 super secret XXX webinar, and these guys have game. Now, it's at a different level than just dating, so be warned about that. Maybe we'll do another one in the future sometime. So with all of this, let's go ahead and do a wrap up, gentlemen. I'm sorry I missed Mark. I'll do that for Mark's inspiration, guys. We'll be broadcasting to his channel. Go check him out. He's more of a mentor, but also a coach for men to improve themselves. Very inspirational channel. He's got a book out, which is called Coming Home, about his struggles being out of the country for a long time and facing struggles raising 6 children by himself. So he's got a lot of experiences, and you could learn a lot from Mark. Mark and Phil just did a broadcast yesterday. I caught a piece of it. It was really nice to see those guys chopping up. Mark does his broadcast with his children. How cool is that shit? Pretty damn cool. Maybe I'll bring my son on one time. He's too famous though. He's out there playing the 9-string guitar with volumes, touring the world. They're headed to Australia and Asia next. So
everything that they're doing is fucking badass. You need to plug it somehow.
Plug my son Volumes, guys. Go check out Volumes. These guys are killing. He's the songwriter guitarist for Volumes. I mean, he is a rock star. That's my oldest son, 37. Michael Dane. So a Viking, kind of like me. Thanks, Huds. Yeah. He wrote the intro music to my little intro. We're going to get a different one. It's going to be a few months, but when we go to Saturdays, we're going to get one, and I'll have all of you in the clips. So we'll get a new intro. And just so that everybody knows, before I do the roundtable, next week we're moving to Saturdays, 10 a.m. Pacific. And we will come up pretty quick here, the rest of the group, with some fun topics to talk about. And we might stray off into some other areas, and we might invite some women that are aware to have an open discussion about the future of men and women. And that's a totalitarian United States of America. And who our next president might be. Will it be a woman? Maybe it will be a trans, huh? Who knows? Oh, dang, did I just demonetize myself? Oh, I'm not monetized anyway. It doesn't really matter. But at least the other 2 channels got demonetized. I got to be careful. So, guys, I'll go ahead and start wrapping it up today. Follow me, Instagram, rp.thor. And, my claim to fame is really nothing other than, take care of myself. I talk to others. I have a lot of experience with LTRs. It seems like that's what I'm really doing, is mentoring men and women on their LTRs, because there are ups and downs. And sometimes they're definitely worth saving, guys. It's not always a flush, flush those relationships. They can be very beautiful, and they can be even better when you understand male and female dynamics inside of a relationship, particularly a long-term one, and how that is supposed to work. But you must always have the ability to end it if it's bad or if it's not working for you. Really, you are the most important person in that relationship. Particularly in men, you need to step up and lead. And that's really where I focus. I do that. And I also sell several lectures. The 2 being the most popular outside of long-term relationship is creating a dominant masculine presence for yourself. We start with the outside, and we teach you exactly how to create your own identity and frame that ends up with your appearance and your mannerisms being dominant, masculine, and present. Super important for holding attraction and frame. And then we finish it with part 2, which is the inside. How do you create that on the inside? You do it with emotional durability and control. And there are techniques to do that. That's part 2. And you can find all of that, right over here on becomedurable.com. Go on there, sign up to email, share this video, and that's fantastic. So come see us next Saturday. Huds, you're up. Tell us what you do, where we can find you.
You got it, brother. So I'm a dating coach. You can find me on Instagram. It's the best way to contact me at the Hudsman. So the HUDS man. Also, it's same thing as my website, thehudsman.com. If you want to schedule a consult, I do 15 minutes for free. And then we go from there. We kind of scale it out and see what we need to do. But yeah, I'm just, dude, I'm so super pumped. We're doing, we got the plunder going on. We have that exciting thing coming this Tuesday with the NLP guy
on the DragonShip. Yeah.
And
it's going to be
It's going to be fantastic. Yeah, no, it's a great cross collaboration of groups, which I think is going to be fantastic. So
we'll clarify, everybody. That's for our memberships, our paid memberships. We have monthly paid memberships. We are putting the teams together for a special lecture and Q&A about yourself involving neuro-linguistic programming to improve your life. Would that be fair to say?
That's a great way to put it. Yes. So we're bringing these 2 groups together, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. If you're not on the DragonShip yet, get on the fucking DragonShip. That's all I have to
Go
say.
sign up. You could do it at Become Durable.
Yeah, becomedurable.com. Make it happen, because it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. What we're doing is we're bringing this guy on, and oh man, he's going to be giving a special trance that will put you into a state of hypnosis, and it is wild. I will share, because these groups are private, I will share my experience before we get started. I'm not going to share it here, but my experience last Saturday was something wild. So I just have to say, get involved. It's all
Thanks,
it is.
Alex. Mac the Day Gamer, we're so pleased that you've joined the panel, and we hope you're able to continue to do so, man. Your knowledge is right down on the streets. I mean, you're in the war, and you're winning, man. What can I say?
Yeah, man, thanks for inviting me, and I enjoyed everyone's take. Yeah, so you can, best way to see me is probably Instagram, Mac the Day Gamer. I'm a proponent of cold approach, meeting chicks in real life. I think it's the best way. I get the best results out of it. I think, honestly, I think it's the best way for men. So yeah, no, follow me on Mac the Day Gamer. You can email me macthedaygamer@gmail.com. Check out my website. But yeah, I basically, guys that want to experience an abundance of sex, I teach guys how to do that. From my own techniques, my own life experience. So yeah, cool, man. I actually got to roll out now too. So we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Randall, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. We're glad to have you on the panel. I'm going to talk to you about some possible collaborations that you and I might be able to do if you're interested. But tell us what you're up to, man. You're a good contributor. We appreciate it.
So thanks for having me on. I don't coach anybody, or I just I help give advice to anybody who wants it. I'm on Instagram at Talon the Titan. You guys can follow me on there. Yeah, like I can just vouch again for the DragonShip. If you're not in a men's community, it's a great one to join. If not, find one that fits well with you. Just take responsibility for yourself, guys.
Thanks, Randall. Chat with you later, man. Sam.
Hey, I'm Sam. I work in the IT field, make websites and software, all sorts of software from your local small business to blockchain. And I can also teach you how to get into the field You can reach me at Sam Saying Yes on Instagram. And I can teach you how to get into the field, how to get a software job, how to get multiple software jobs, how to manage multiple software jobs, or manage multiple women. Come talk to me for free on Instagram.
Thank you, Sam. And my favorite voice, Phil Foster.
What's up? What's going on, man? Thanks for having me today. This is a great panel, a great discussion. You can find me at philfosterfitness.com. That's my website. Right there, we do custom training programs through the app I've designed and developed. We've got supplements. I also have a men's community that I work with, all my training clients that I work with, both through the subscription-based training and through the app. We talk more privately there on relationships, how to be a better male figure in this crazy world, and definitely not live on emotion. But you can find me at Phil Foster _ on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Hit me up. If you guys need to chit chat about anything, anytime, DM me. We can talk, whatever. It's all good. Thor, thank you so much. Look forward to next Saturday.
Oh yeah. And one more thing about Phil's his group too. If you're a member there, you have access to the plunder. I know that HUD keeps talking about it. Guys, if you have access to any of those communities, the plunder is where it's at. We're in a giant economic turmoil right now. If I was to total the assets of the guys that are teaching on the plunder, it's a 6-part lecture series. It's $1 billion or more of assets these guys have internationally. They're going to teach you about the psychology of the markets. Why would that be important to a man? Oh, well, to acquire resources and to provide for himself and his empire might be important. Opportunities are going to show up, and if you don't know how to see them, they'll pass you by, and some of them will be once in a lifetime. That's why we call it the plunder, because we're going to be ready for it. So if you're in those groups, go get in. If you're not, go join.
Yes, sir.
You will be plundered. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week. And let me get us ready to go out. And here we go. Skull.